How's it going, BFDers, and welcome to another episode of Na Baron Fedrautha, the Harkonnen. I'm sure you could guess what's going on here. This is our Dune Part 2 review, and let me just say, wow, wow, wee, wah. Man, this film was phenomenal. Saw it on AMC Prime, and it just blew my socks off. Literally, I'm not wearing socks right now. This movie is a radiant diamond among the heaping garbage of recent mass releases. Yeah, I'm looking at you, and the one that stole our time slot last year for this movie. Yeah, trash. But this one, no. Magnifico. Everything about this film is on the next level. It is 100% tonally complete. What I define as a masterpiece is a film with all of its elements working together. The visuals, the writing, the sound, everything that crafts a piece of art that understands itself. The cinematography overall portrayed the scale and grandeur of the Dune universe so well, from the initial sequence, the orange of the desert and the deep black of the Harkonnens, to the use of so many different focal lengths and shot types, each used to emphasize what was happening in the story. Greg Fraser does everything to help immerse you in the world of Dune and bring us into its reality. There's so much stylistic difference between Arrakis, Gedi Prime, Seleucus Secundus, and Kaitan. They're all so unique. Not only was the visual element there, but the soundscape of the universe as well. Danny Elfman once said that music has to play a part in the story. Otherwise, it's just noise. And Dune Part 2 has no noise. The score itself is reflective of whatever's happening on the screen. The musicals come in at the perfect time to make the movie all the more epic. Subtle sounds in the score. There's one shot near the end where Paul is walking up towards a massive crowd of Fremen, and you hear what sounds like boot spurs clinking. And these little details elevate the film so much, and they can be found everywhere. The sound effects rocked the theater. Massive explosions, the flitting of ornithopter wings, overpowered lasers just blasting through stuff, the crunching of sand underneath your feet. So much care was put into this film. Well done. Everyone played their part well. Javier Bardem especially, knocking my socks off again. They're back on, and then they get knocked off again later. Just with the seriousness of the role, but the humor that he brings to it. He says, the Lisam al-Gaib is too humble to recognize it. And then he goes, as it is written. And then he makes his little face, he goes, as it is written. And it's hilarious, and he does this the whole movie. Everybody just, I never believe that any actor is not the character they are playing, even the minor ones, like that one spy chick that is friends with Chani. I don't think we ever hear her name. We may, I don't know. But there were a few times when I felt that Chalamet may have made a wrong choice. There are only a few lines, and these are really just personal preference nitpicks. There are a couple times when he yells and it feels like it came out of nowhere. There wasn't really a build up to that level of intensity for him. The biggest issue with the film is that there are some pacing problems. And with a film that's 3 hours long and a world that is so massive, that tends to happen. In a lesser film, at around the hour-and-a-half point, we would have been entering the third act. And instead here we are entering the midpoint. So where things would have been picking up and getting into the final push of the film, instead here we are sort of entering what tends to be the most boring part of any given film. There's another issue with Paul having to understand the ways of the Fremen. I've read the first book, so I know what all of those details and intricacies are, but here we don't really explore that. it suffers from what I call the Witcher Season 1 syndrome. Those who read the books know what happened, and so they're understanding all of this. They accept all of what's happening because in their mind, oh, Paul has to learn the ways of the Fremen. Okay, I know what this means. But those who haven't read the books don't know the intricacies and nuances and religious ideologies of the Fremen, and so they don't know what Paul has to do. And so we see that Paul has to cross the desert, and eventually he has to ride the sandworm. But there are so many other things, as Liette Kynes said in the first movie with her introduction. She says, oh, you put the suit on. How'd you know how to do that right? And so there are a lot of little things like that Paul doesn't know, and we don't really explore that. And again, the movie's already 3 hours long, so it's understandable that Denis chose to cut some of those things out. And honestly, that being said, I think we could have gotten 3 movies out of the first book. The first book is divided up into 3 main sections, and I think that the cinematic universe that we have now would have benefited from that. I'm sure it was a money thing, budgeting. It's a risk putting this out there when it's failed 2 other times. There are a couple things that I wish we would have seen. One of them is Thufir Hawat, which Denis said that was the hardest thing for him to cut out. There's another subplot with Gurney Halleck where he actually trains all of the Fremen and how to fight, and we missed that too. I don't think that was necessary, but it would have been cool to see. Also, I would have loved to see like the Power Ranger suits that was in Paul's vision in the past movie, because those looked freaking awesome and they would have been super cool to see. And instead we kind of get like this turtle uniform that the Fedaykin wear, which is a little strange. I guess maybe it's plates of the sandworms. Unclear. They also changed Chani's character. In the book, she's a lot more willing to support Paul, and in the movie, she is pretty strongly against it, which honestly, I really like that dynamic. It adds a whole other layer to what is going on inside Paul's mind. He says to her, near the end, he goes, I want you to know that I'll love you forever. He says, I'll love you until my last breath. And then he turns around and asks for Princess Irulan's hand in marriage. And just having that there, again, adds so much more depth to their relationship, I think. I've seen a couple people not like Austin Butler as Feyd-Rautha, some of them complaining that he sounds too much like his uncle. And honestly, I think it works. I think it works because Raban is the failure, and he is so much different from Vladimir Harkonnen, and Feyd-Rautha sounding like him, acting like him more, definitely made me view him as the more psychopathic, intimidating of the 2 brothers. There's a lot to say about this. If you want to see another video that goes way more in depth on my actual thoughts and sort of comparing the couple different versions that we've got, please let me know, comment below, and honestly, I may make it anyway, because I really freaking like Dune. Yeah. But that being said, again, Dune, as I'm calling it, one film, is a magnificent piece of art and a good adaptation that requires you go see it on the big screen. And I just like to say thank you to all of the creatives and anybody that worked on these films. I just want to say thank you for making something good. BFD appreciates it. Well, that's it for today's episode, guys. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, regardless, leave a like because that helps the channel out a lot. Everybody says it, but it's true. And if you like this style of video, we got a bunch on the channel, reviews, video essays, some dumb stuff. Make sure you hit subscribe and hit that notification bell icon so you can stay up to date on all that sorts of stuff. And also, let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think, what you liked about the movie, what you didn't like the movie. If you've read the book, if after watching the movie you're going to read the book again or read it for the first time, let me know, because I love this series and there's so much lore in them that just is so massive and interesting, and is a very religious text once you get into it, and I love it. And I hope they keep making more of these movies. Okay, comment, do all that stuff. I'm gonna stop talking now and probably go see the movie again today. Okay, and I'm Jake, and I was last Thursday, and who knows before that, and I'm probably gonna be moving forward. I don't know. Anyway, goodbye.